What's poppin', fellas of Outside the Field? Welcome back to another edition. As always, well, not always, because I missed Monday's episode due
Tuesday.
to streaming issues. But as always, except for Monday,
Tuesday.
it's me. It's me. What?
Tuesday. You missed Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Man, I'm mixing my days up. But as always, Chris here to my left, and myself here, Jacob. We're here to give you guys some trade targets this week. Cue music. Dun 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 dun.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What?
No, I was just gonna say we appreciate y'all coming out as always. We had to get up early in the morning. I'm not a morning person, but I want to do this for you guys. It's very important to me, so I found a way to force myself to get up. Made myself a nice coffee. We got Sailor here back again for yet another episode, so stay tuned for her shenanigans that she likes to put Crabtree through. They are a lot of fun to watch, guys. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Well, since we got two things to do here, give you the trade targets and keep an eye on my spectacular daughter. We're gonna jump right into this though. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up with a QB guy that I think you should go try to target this week. But Aaron Rodgers,
I'm sorry,
think
guys. Quick pause. This is our week 6 trade target video. I don't think we actually got that part in there, so I just wanted y'all to know this
I didn't see that. Rookie move, Jacoby. All right, week 6 trade targets. Let's get it. Boom. Quarterback this week, Aaron Rodgers. QB 16 on the year with every single week top 5 upside any given week. I think this is a great week to go and try to snag him. He does have kind of a little bit rougher of a playoff matchup, but sometimes QBs, that's like the only one that you want to go like snag, because like usually when it's a tougher matchup, like it's either like, hey, like both QBs explode and it's like a good high scoring game, or it is kind of like a lower scoring game. It's either one or the other, but typically I don't see him playing any like top 5 defenses, so I just see like top 5 to like 15 ranked defenses. So I could see like a very good game from him during his playoffs matchup. So definitely a guy I would go trade or go target this week to help you win your league.
I agree. I mean, I think Rodgers always gives you that like strong QB1 upside. There's no way. I don't personally see him finishing as lower than QB12 on the season. I think that's where I have him, or 11 right now. So I mean, obviously Rodgers is the man. Him and Devontae Adams are starting to kind of get it going again. I think they were a little behind because of the offseason and all their shenanigans going on there, but I think they're finding a way to work it out. So I like the call for sure. My quarterback buy of the week, guys, and like I still understand that this is probably going to cost you kind of a pretty penny, guys. But I do think that the general consensus around him is that he's maybe starting to fall down a little bit, which is far from the case because he's slipping in ECR, but he is still QB1 on the season. So if you can get Mahomes at a slight discount, guys, who is probably a second or third rounder in your league, I would definitely try to make it happen. I still see Mahomes finishing his QB1. This team is going to get better, guys. Like, I promise you, there's no way they finish with a losing record, and that is going to be on the back of Mahomes' arm. So I definitely see Mahomes continuing to fire it out all year and be very productive. So if somebody in your league is potentially a little scared about, like, they're obviously not panicking, but if they're a little scared about Mahomes and the turnovers, and especially I think the turnovers are going to come down, so that'll help some of those negative points against them. I think Mahomes' rest of the season should be spectacular, and they will find their way into the playoffs for sure. So I would definitely go to try to acquire Mahomes for a cheap price if possible.
Bro, I saw this thing on Twitter where it was like predict the rest of the season Chiefs record, and there were so many comments saying like 6-11, like not making playoffs. Like I was just like, bro.
That's what my brother, he's a Packers fan. He's like, there's no way you make the playoffs. And I like straight laid it out for him. I'm like, here's the AFC teams. You show me 7 teams making the playoffs over the Chiefs. Like, that's a cap, bro. Especially with this was the gauntlet of their stretch, guys. It's going to get a bit easier. So I would definitely feel really good about Mahomes going forward the rest of the season. And they don't run the ball.
Maybe if they were in NFC, but like, nah, AFC, there ain't no way.
For sure.
I love the buy. I think this is the lowest you'll be able to pay for him. So like you said, he's still QB1.
And especially in Dynasty, I think some people might be a little scared. So I would definitely hop on that real quick.
As an owner of Mahomes in 2 dynasty leagues, I am not scared. Just gonna throw that out there. You would literally have to give me the space station in Star Wars for him. Because then I would blow you up and then go and steal Mahomes back.
I agree. But moving over to my quarterback sell real quick, guys. It's Mr. Joe Burrow, guys. He's had a couple good weeks, but even in standard scoring, a couple of good weeks for him are 22 and 20, which is like barely back end QB numbers. I do think he's starting to work his way back from that injury, but I think Joe Burrow just behind a poor defensive line. He has KC in the championship game, but Denver and Baltimore in weeks 15 and 16 are pretty ideal. They are not ideal. I'm sorry about it. But so if you could potentially
get confused about Denver for a second.
What?
Did you just get confused about Denver's defense for a second?
No, I don't know if I jumbled my words.
Oh, okay. Andrew Keelan music.
But honestly, guys, I think you could, if you're in one QB league, I think I'd probably rather stream than just roll with Joe Burrow. So if you can get some actionable positional, like if you have Burrow, I'd probably roll him out there, but you could stream and probably get just as good numbers, if maybe not slightly better. So if you could flip Burrow for something of actual material value on your team, like potentially a running back or maybe like a nice receiver too, I think I would definitely try to make it happen.
I like it. Question for you though: do you think Joe Burrow ever turns into like an elite option at the quarterback position?
I think I could see him consistently being like.
He's got the talent around him,
I could see him consistently being like the 8th, the 12th best QB, but I don't think he's ever gonna be like a top 5 guy. Personally, I think the Bengals should roll with him, and I think the Bengals could be good with him. The team's obviously
playing. They are good with him.
Yeah,
what are they 4-1 right now?
3-2.
3-2.
So I think that they're gonna be a good football team, but I don't think Joe Burrow's ever gonna just really stuff the sheet and give you like a 5,050 TD season. I just don't know if he's that good. Like he's good. He's not great in my personal opinion.
I hear you. Well, I like the trade. I do. I think this is a great one. That obviously I think if you have Joe Burrow, I don't think he's your starting quarterback in a 1 QB league. I think he's probably like your backup quarterback that you drafted just in case type thing. At least for me. My sell of the week is Jameis Winston. He had a great week this week. Only had 1 interception. I think 4 tutties and 280 yards. I think he had a great showing this week. Did play a Washington football team that going into the season you thought their defense was going to be great again, but they actually have been terrible, pretty bad.
Dude, no, because the secondary wasn't that good, and they're not getting the pass rush like we thought they were. So, honestly, they're kind of a defense we target right now a little bit, guys. Not super heavily, but if you played Washington football team, you honestly feel a little good about the matchup.
Want more? Sorry, Fruit Loop break. Taylor wants some Fruit Loops. Anyways, can't hear me. Hold on. Here you go. All right, we're done with the crumbling. But Jameis Winston, I think that this is a guy that's earlier in the season I was very, very high on, and I was wrong. But I still think that he's going to give you weeks where he just did, where it's 40, 13, 18, 13, 50, 12, 14. I just think that's what he's going to give you. And because of those high scoring games that he gives you, he's going to finish right around QB 18 to 14 just because of those high weeks. But I think this is a great guy to go sell, get as much value as you can from him right now. You okay?
Yeah, sorry, the tornado sirens or something were going off, but because Marissa came in here looking at me, but I just think they were doing the test because it's Wednesday, Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
Wednesday,
us.
my dudes.
Yes, it's hump day.
Alrighty. Marissa, please stay clothed this time.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
Anyways, lost my thought of training.
We're talking Jameis Winston, but I agree.
Jameis Winston. trade away. Get as much value as you can. If you can even get, honestly, if you can get one of like the guys I'm thinking about selling at running back, like I think that would be a great offer right now.
I agree.
But
He only produces right now when he throws up a lot of touchdowns, and he's obviously not going to throw multiple, like 3, 4, 5 touchdowns in very many games. And he has shown us that he's very inconsistent in this New Orleans offense. So I agree. I think if you can flip him for like probably a running back 2 or a receiver 3, I'd probably make the call and make that move pretty quickly.
yes, sir. Well, let's get into running back buys and who you should go try to get right now. Um, if you guys haven't picked up on the trend, I'm a very big like, hey, if someone's injured and they're like 2 or 3 weeks away from being back, like those are the guys I like to target. But only if you can. Like you can't obviously if you're 1-4, you can't go target those guys. If you have the luxury of being 4-1, 5-0, possibly even 3-2, but like you've scored like second most points, you just have gotten unlucky with points against. This is a player that I think you can go target right now and later in the season have huge upside because he has one of the sexiest playoff schedules for a running back later in the season. It's not the sexiest, but it's one of the sexiest. But David Montgomery, you're seeing it even now with Damian Williams. Like they want to run the ball. They have a rookie quarterback. I know he got hurt, and Andy Dalton showed back or played again last week, and I don't really know the situation with that. But even when Andy Dalton was in there, David Montgomery was getting his points. I think Damian Williams had like 15 points last week.
And
This is a guy that
Khalil Herbert, he even had like 18 points too. They both had a very productive game.
I think that this is like a great player to go snag, and I think like he's gonna like if he's your RB2 or RB3 because you're not trading away an RB2 to wait 2 or 3 weeks for David Montgomery to come back unless you have a pretty decent RB2 to fill in for that. But this is a guy that I think you can get him low because that guy, the team that has him, is probably 2-3 and not trying to miss the playoffs. So go try to snag him, bro. This is a great player.
I agree. I'm also very big on David Montgomery. Not quite as big as Mr. Crabtree, but I'm still a big fan. I've liked him. He's always been like rather consistent. He's gotten better each and every year, it seems.
Top 5 last year.
My one quick question is, do you potentially have any worries that when he does come back that Damian Williams finds his way at kind of like siphoning a little bit of work from David Montgomery?
Maybe a little bit, but not enough. Like I see it maybe like 80-20.
That's fair. That's fair. I like that. But yeah, I think you could easily get probably like a back end RB2. Like maybe you could flip like a Miles Gaskin after a big week. Maybe you could flip like a Damian Harris, and you'd maybe miss Damian Harris, but I think Damian Harris's upside is significantly lower than like David Montgomery's. Maybe you could flip a Chase Edmonds, or would you flip Cordero Patterson for David Montgomery?
Yeah, 100%. Just go to the snap share. Like you can't trust the snap
No,
share,
dude,
bro.
he got his snapshot. It went way up this week. Hold on, I'm about to pull it up for you. Cordero got 60% this week.
And who was all out?
Just Ridley.
Russell Gage.
And Russell Gage, yes, on a personal manner.
That's significant. Like, just think about it. Your top 2 pure receivers are out of the game. So Cordell Patterson, who's been like the third option, and he's still only played 61%. That scares the shit out of me. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for cursing, but that scares me. I don't want that. I'm looking to trade Cordell Patterson right away. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's not even on my list, but I'm gonna go ahead and put him on my list. Like trade him away.
Nah, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you have Cordero Patterson, I think you should keep him, and I would keep plugging him at RB2, maybe your flex spot. I like even when his snap share was low, he did show us that when he was on the field, they basically wanted to put the ball in his hands. They seem very intent on using him, and he does honestly seem like kind of one of the more explosive players on this offense right now. So I would disagree with that. But moving over to my running back buy is Mr. Leonard Fournette.
RB1!
Okay, he's not an RB1, but that's a deep backstory we'll have to tell you guys about another time. But last year our worry was really, is it Ronald Jones? Is it Fournette? Is it Jones? And I think that it's becoming very, very clear that Fournette is the RB1. Last week he played 82%. of the snaps. This week he played 62. He's obviously Tom Brady's running back, and we know that Tom Brady does still like to check down the ball, even with all of his elite receiving options. I mean, he's gotten 7, 4, 3, 5, and 5 targets, so he's getting a really consistent target share, which means that he's going to have a nice floor for you. 6 was his worst week, and he only had 4 carries that week, but that was the week they played the Rams and were behind a lot. But his other 4 weeks were 11, 10, 17, and 21. He obviously plays an incredible offense, so he's going to have a scoring upside, and he's looks like to be the clear running back one there. So if someone is still a little hesitant on Fournette, and you can flip, I'd probably flip like once again like a Damian Harris. I'd probably flip Cordero Patterson for Fournette. I'm not gonna lie to you, I would do that one. I would probably sell like Chase Edmonds, maybe on the receiver side. If you could sell like a T Higgins, a Cortland Sutton, like I would honestly feel really good about Fournette moving forward. And I think he'll get, like, if he was because you'd probably be getting him as your RB3. So if you can get him as your RB3, I'd feel really good moving forward, especially with like the buys and everything coming up. So guys, go get Fournette if possible. Moving over back to my running back sell, guys, is Mr. Antonio Gibson. And I know running back is a very hard position, but Antonio Gibson, guys, is honestly not necessarily looked super stellar. J.D. McKissick still finds a way to always be involved, some weeks here and there. And so far he's been 9, 9, 18, 16, and 21. So he's kind of been a little hit or miss. He's not very involved in the passing game. So it's kind of like he has to hit a touchdown for you, or he's probably going to kind of bust out for you. And that's not necessarily like running back. Like if that's going to be like my high-end running back 2, maybe even like your running back 1, if you went receiver heavy or you drafted like a Kelsey, like I'm just not comfortable enough with him each and every week. So if you can go, like, would you trade Antonio Gibson right now for Saquon and sit out Saquon's injury real quick?
Oh yeah.
So like
Barkley's one of those, like, I know he was one of my busts, but I'm honestly willing to say it over Zeke. But
no.
like, as long as like he's healthy, like he's got top 3 upside. He does. But he can't stay healthy. That's the damn problem. Like he's so good, bro, and he's like such a freak athlete. But if you want to be riskier, yes. If you want to stay on the health side, no.
That's fair. But if you could potentially get like a running back who maybe is like struggling in like a higher end running back too, I think I have Gibson down at like 16 or 17 right now, guys. I'm just kind of worried they don't like if Antonio Gibson got the full workload, like he would probably be like an RB 8 or 10 because he does have that skill set, but they just clearly don't want to use him like that, and because of that, I just have some worries and reservations. So if you could get a really nice price for Antonio Gibson, especially after a big game, I'm not going to lie to you though, he does play KC, so maybe you hold him for one more week and sell him next week because he's probably going to explode. But I think you could either cash him in this week or next week and probably make a nice little profit off him when he's probably going to be pretty hit or bust for the rest of the season. So kind of how I'm thinking about running back right now. Who are you trying to sell?
My guy this week is Myles Gaskin. This is a guy that I think that's going to put up a lot of points, probably right close to like Gibson, and that's not a shot at anybody. Like I just do think that. There's insider joke.
I
There's
have
a
a
bet
bet
between
that
Chris and Ev.
Gaskin has to finish within 10 points because I thought if I still believe if Gaskin got the workload, he would get just as many points as Gibson. But I don't know if he'll get that workload. But I have a $10 bet that Gaskin finishes within 10 points of Gibson.
I mean, let's see real quick. What's he at?
Gibson's at 74. Gaskin
74. Gaskin's at 63.8.
yes. So we're right
What?
there. We're right there right now. He's holding neck and neck.
Right now you're losing though by 0.2 points.
It's fine.
But no, I think Gaskin's a great guy to like try to trade this week. Like I still think like he could put up a 8 to 12 range like pretty consistently. I do. but I think this is the most value you'll get for him. And me and Chris are always about getting as much value as possible for your players. That's why we always trade as high as we can. We traded CMC when we could. And yeah, we just try to get as much value as we can. So,
I agree. But I mean, kind of like Gibson, he does have a really nice matchup against Jacksonville. So if you potentially don't find a candidate this week because they're a little scared, you could probably still try to flip him next week and get a nice price. I would assume, unless they do the Malcolm Brown thing again and just roll him out there for 50% of snaps for no reason.
Yes. Well, going into receivers, which I love my targets this week. Oh, you found a Fruit Loop. Here you go. Here's more. Michael Thomas, guy coming off an injury. He is probably like 2 weeks away from being back in starting lineups. I think this is a guy that
He'll be back.
potentially.
Not this week because they're on bye. He should be back week 7, is what I'm understanding.
Okay, so 2 weeks he should be playing again, like week 2, or not week 2, but you all know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think this is a great buy. I think the slant narrative is real. James Winston isn't throwing for a ton of yards right now, but I think almost all the targets go to Thomas. Like I think this is a great one. And then another one that I think is a steal right now, and we're gonna wait to post this in our league because I'm trying to go acquire him. Hush, hush. But Stephon Diggs, man. Okay, so listen, Josh Allen, he was a baller, bro. But
he is a baller.
Stephon Diggs target rate right now 13, 8, 10, 10, and 5, and he had 5 in a game that they were up huge. He had 16, 16, 12, 18, and 9. His yards per catch have been 7, 15, 10, 16, 34. Only 1 touchdown, and he's receiver 26 on the year, bro. He's had almost an average of 10 targets a game each and every single week. He's going to start scoring touchdowns. The Bills' offense is legit. They're scary. And Josh Allen is looking like an MVP runner or front runner right now, right up there with Kyler. I think that this is somebody you can go trade target a little bit lower, and he's going to blow up later in the season. Trust the process. I promise you.
I agree, and like I did tell everyone on Tuesday that I did move him back probably to like the end of receiver 1, and that is just because of the emergence of Dawson Knox and Emmanuel Sanders. They're both currently outscoring him in just regular PPR formats. But like you said, the target share is there. I do expect him to pick up and have some better games ahead. We're just waiting for the day he catches 11 receptions, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like, it's going to happen sooner rather than later, guys. So if you can go get Diggs for a cheaper price just because he is like the 3rd scoring player on that offense right now, I would honestly feel really good about that. So I would definitely try to make that happen. If you could flip would you flip Debo for him?
Oh yeah. I think Debo comes down.
Marquise Brown?
Actually, no.
You and
I like Marquise Brown because, well, here's where okay. Yes, probably I would, but like I don't see I feel like you'd have to give up Marquise Brown and said player to acquire Diggs. Like that's me. But like I think you're gonna get this pretty much the same value. Like I don't see Brown coming down because like Lamar is cooking right now. You know?
Yeah, I agree. He first player ever 400 yards, 50 passing, or 400 passing yards, 50 rushing, highest completion percentage ever on a 400 passing yard game. Lamar's cooking, but the point still stands, guys, that maybe you could flip like one of the Tampa Bay receivers for him. I would honestly trade any 3 of them for Diggs. So I think there's a lot of things you could do here to go acquire Diggs, and I would try to make it happen. And kind of in that same category, not maybe quite as high as Diggs, he's maybe like a couple spots down, but Mr. Calvin Ridley, he was clearly out last week due to personal matters, so hopefully he makes it back, but we don't truthfully know if he's going to be back this week. But Calvin Ridley is seeing the target share, guys. He's seen 8, 10, 11, and 13. His yards per catch are a little down, so I definitely expect that to bounce back up. Calvin Ridley has been a red zone machine, so he's definitely going to get more than 1 touchdown the rest of the season, guys. And Matt Ryan is honestly starting to play a bit better now that they're getting a little bit more used to the system. So when Calvin Ridley gets back out there, guys, I do see Calvin Ridley starting to look a little bit more like the Calvin Ridley of last year than the Calvin Ridley we've seen this season. So I would probably be willing to flip a lot of the same players that we go trade for Diggs. The scoring upside is probably just slightly lower because it's not the Bills' offense, it's the Falcons' offense. But I mean, I do think that Ridley is going to be the main weapon in this offense moving forward. Just with Diggs, we need to trust our process and just keep having faith. And I'm a big Calvin Ridley fan. So if you can go out there and get him for a slightly cheaper price, like flip a receiver two, like a back end receiver two for him, middle receiver two. I mean, I think that Ridley's probably going to be like right on the edge of that receiver one going the rest of the season. So I would try to make that happen if at all possible. I like the Michael Thomas call. Similarly to Michael Thomas, are you trying to acquire Jerry Jeudy at all, or are we a little more skeptical about that one?
No, not yet. I think he'll have a great year. It's just not somebody I'm trying to target.
Okay, that's fair. Moving over into the receiver cells, my receiver cell right now is Mr. Keenan Allen. Like we have talked about, Justin Herbert is clearly an MVP front runner. Whoever drafted Keenan probably drafted him as like a receiver one, and I bet you some people still hold on to that idea that Keenan's going to find his way over Mike Williams, but I think we'll both tell you that it is the Mike Williams show moving forward. I do think that Keenan Allen's going to give you a very safe floor, but I think because of that, his upside's going to be a little bit more capped because they want Mike Williams and Austin Eckler to be the main two weapons they use here. So if you can flip Keenan for a Stephon Diggs, if you can flip Keenan for a Calvin Ridley, like it's something maybe a Terry McLaurin, probably not on that one, but it's something that I would probably look very much to make happen. Maybe one of the Cowboys receivers, you can flip them before. I'd probably make that happen. So it's not that we're down on Keenan. It's just that we have to be honest with ourselves, and he's probably a little bit lower than we drafted him. He does bring a safe floor, so maybe you need that player in your lineup. But I mean, I think you could still get a nice return for Keenan, and I don't necessarily see him picking it up a lot from here. I kind of just see this being his production going forward. Unless Mike Williams does get hurt, which is possible, then I do see Keenan just like going to the moon.
No, I hear you. I like the call. I still think Chargers receivers are somebody you want to hold on to right now, though, just because of how surefire Herbert is. I'm just gonna make this short and sweet. Allen Robinson, my drop of the week. No explanation. You just or not drop trade target. You just need to trade him. That's all I'm gonna say.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
Is he in that same category as like Allen Robinson, where we're like,
No. AJ Brown's a freak of nature, bro. He's gonna get it together. Just it's not him. It's Ryan Tannehill.
it is Ryan Tannehill.
Just hold on to AJ Brown. He's
realistically, like, what are you selling like, what are you gonna sell Allen Robinson for right now? Like, you think you could sell him for Michael Thomas?
Yeah.
You think it's possible potentially?
I mean, depends. As always, trades just depend on the team and the year. But if I'm 1-4 and I can't wait another week with Michael Thomas and Allen Robinson's at least going to give me like 8 points, and I don't have anybody else that can give me 8 points, like I very well could. Me personally, I would very well trade Thomas away to get Allen Robinson, but it just kind of depends. I think it's not a bad offer.
Okay. But I mean, I kind of agree, guys. Like I told you Tuesday, I don't know. Like I think Allen Robinson will pick it up a little bit, but I think that they just want to run the ball. I don't think he's going to pick it up a lot, guys. We knew Allen Robinson to be QB proof, but maybe not with Justin Fields or Andy. I mean, if Andy Dalton comes back, I think this will look a lot better because week 1 was by far like the most encouraging week we saw. But outside of that, dude, I'm honestly in full panic mode about Allen Robinson. I'm not gonna lie to you. So if you could sell him for honestly anything of value, I'd probably go out and make it happen. But we're gonna move right over into tight ends buys of the week. Who are you trying to buy right now?
DJ Hopkinson, bro, this guy is going to blow up. He's had 2 bad games. I think defenses are kind of targeting him a little bit because he's what?
I think he had 3 bad games.
He had 10-ish, so I wouldn't consider it.
He put up 3, he put up 8, and then he put up 4.
Yeah, so I think defenses are starting to target him a little bit. A little bit of an injury bug with the knee, but I think he works through it. And I think later in the season, this is a guy that you'll want. But yeah, that's my buy this week.
I agree.
Who you got buy?
I agree. Like, I think that he was maybe a little banged up. I think that they maybe like really honed in on him, and you've seen him really give the ball to Swift and some of the receivers. So I think some of that attention maybe shifts off of T.J. Hawkinson a little bit. And I definitely like you have to have faith in him. He's probably one of those few start like the set him and forget him tight ends that we have in the league. There's not very many. So if you can go acquire T.J. Hawkinson for maybe like a Dawson Knox, maybe a Mike Gesicki. I'm probably not. Maybe you could probably do like Mike Gesicki in a piece though. I would definitely try to make it happen because Hawk is that guy. So I would definitely try to make that one happen. My tight end buy of the week is Crabtree's favorite man, Noah Fant. I'm not a true believer in Noah Fant, but he had a tough week last week against Pittsburgh, and it definitely opens up. His final 2 weeks in the playoffs are Las Vegas and Chargers, so those are really good matchups. I think the Broncos are going to be trying to make the playoffs all year. Like, I think they're like one of the few teams like trying to make that 7 seed. So later in the season, they're going to have to try to make a big push. Noah Fant is clearly like one of the guys they want to find a way to get involved. So if you can go out there and get Noah Fant for like a cheap price, I would definitely try to make it happen because I think it's going to be better days ahead for Noah Fant.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it. You know I'm on the Noah Fant train. Who you got for your sell? I unfortunately do not have a sell this week because tight ends are so hard, and I did not have a sell for you guys on the trade targets for tight ends, but Chris does, and I'm very interested to hear who it is.
Guys, this is someone I've hyped up to you basically for like the last 2 or 3 weeks. But Dawson Knox, guys, if you picked Dawson Knox up, you more than likely had another tight end option. If you do not have another tight end option, I would not sell Dawson Knox unless you can go trade him for like T.J. Hawkinson. Would you trade Knox for Fant?
That's tough.
I think it's close. I think that one's really close. Ultimately, the worry here, guys, with Dawson Knox is that the target share is okay. It's not very great. I mean, we got 4, 3, 5, 8, and 4. So outside of last week, which was against Houston with the 8 targets, he's making a lot of his money off of those touchdowns. Now, I will preface this and say that I do think he's going to be a red zone weapon all year. But like I said, you more than likely picked him up off the waiver wire and had another option. So if you can pick somebody like that up off the waiver wire and then turn around and sell them for an actual, like another piece that helps you out, maybe you can go get like David Montgomery with Dawson Knox if it's a tight end needy team. Maybe he's part of the package that helps you get Mahomes. Like if you can flip Knox for something, what?
You say Knox for Mahomes?
I said he's part of the package that helps you get Mahomes. Because you're obviously going to have to sell more than Dawson Knox. Maybe you can sell like a Joe Burrow and a Dawson Knox if they're tight end needy. I mean, still probably not, but maybe. In 1 QB leagues, I think it's plausible.
I forget because I'm not in a lot of 1 QB leagues.
Yeah.
I think this out. I think it's very interesting because this has been a guy you've been targeting the last few weeks, but I think it's a huge call, and I think you're going to stake your fantasy knowledge on this call, sir.
Like I said, it's not that I honestly necessarily see him dropping off a cliff, but I do see him being a little bit more boom or bust, where he's been like super consistent for you super far, just because he does like really depend on those touchdowns. So if you can like flip, because I mean right now he is tight end 3 in PPR on the season. So I mean if you can flip him for like a real piece, like a TJ Hawk or something, I would probably make it happen just because like I do think there are going to be slightly worse days ahead. There'll still be good days, but I think you could still make your money off of what you picked up off the waiver wire because he got drafted as like tight end like 31 or something. So that's just doing like it's not that I'm like trying to go out of my way to sell Dawson Knox, but I wanted to give you guys a name and kind of like Sam Darnold, you're just trying to make a profit off your waiver wire additions. Like sometimes you use the waiver wire to help boost your team. Sometimes you're using the waiver wire to give yourself some extra pieces to sell to upgrade the current players you have on your roster. Because maybe you take like T. Higgins and Dawson Knox and you flip that for Stephon Diggs or something like along that lines, you know? So that's all we have for you guys today on our trade targets. We really appreciate you stopping by. Sailor says thank you guys for coming out today. We will be back Saturday as always for our starts and sits, but we really appreciate everything you guys do. Make sure to drop comments down if you have any questions about trades. Hit us up on Twitter. We really appreciate you guys. Make sure to smash the like, subscribe. Thank you guys for coming in. Jacob, send us out of here.
Yes, sir. Give us that like and subscribe. Sailor, say bye.
No.
She said bye.
No, she didn't.
Yeah. Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sailor.
Later, guys.
Thanks, guys.